Hi, I am Stacy Spangler. I'm a mixed media artist and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my love-hate relationship with resin. If you've ever worked with it before, you know it's icky and messy, but you get beautiful results. So I'm going to give you some of my favorite products and show you my process for resining a piece. Let's get started. All right, I am going to be putting some resin on these pieces, and so I kind of wanted to go over my setup first. Sorry about the shaky camera here. I'm going to be doing these two pieces. I've got two hearts. They have a lot of dimension in them and a lot of elements, so I thought this would look really cool with a hard resin finish over it. Resin is very messy, and I don't do it a lot, so I'm not the expert on it. I will be using the Art Resin brand, which I have found from all the ones I've used, this is low odor, it's easy to use, and I always have had really good outcomes as being a novice resin user. So they have a really great tutorial on their website. So I'm not being paid to promote this. This is just the brand that I'm using. So I'm going to show you my setup. I have moved indoors because it's really important with resin that you're in a climate controlled environment. My garage studio, while it's warm right now, it's really, really cold outside. And so I just want the drying to be consistent. So I've come in here so that I can keep it climate controlled. Also, you're going to want to make sure that your art is good and dry, that it's dried for at least 72 hours is what I'd recommend, especially if it's a thick surface like this. This is dried for, I don't know, it's for about 3 or 4 days now. So it's really, really messy, so I would recommend anything you use be things that you can throw away. So let me kind of take you through my setup here. I'm doing two pieces, so I've got two flat surfaces that I can easily move and transport these things once they're done so that I can put them in a drying spot. I have, of course, the resin, which is two parts. You have to mix it. You want a mixing stick. I use these little tongue depressors because I can throw that away. They're easy to stir it with. And then I'm using little cups. You can use the little Dixie Solo cups, anything where you can mix. These are just something I think my husband got from his line of work that they were going to throw away, and I said those would be great for paint and stuff. So they have not been used. They're urine sample cups, but I promise you they have not had urine in them. So I use these. I have one to mix, and then I have some that I put underneath so that I can prop up my piece and it be level so that when it drips it doesn't stick to the surface. I have my drying element that gets the bubbles out. This is a heat gun, but you could use a hair dryer on low heat or one of the little, what are they called, flame things. You'll definitely want gloves. That's a #1 priority. I have a paper towel. And then another thing that I do is I use a Rubbermaid tub once I'm done to cover my artwork. Because when I'm doing it in my garage, there are bugs flying around, there's lots of dust, and I want to keep it, for 24 hours, keep it covered so that none of those get stuck in it. And then indoors, I have a cat that's always climbing on things, and I don't want her on it. So I do have that covered and find that that is helpful. So we will get started, and I'll just show you the process. All right, we will get started here. I'm just going to kind of take you through my process as you're watching here, and like I said, I would really recommend this website for this product has a great tutorial, and I would really recommend, and I'm going to purchase them myself, but going and purchasing their measuring and the products that come with the kit. I really want the kit because it does need to be exact, and so I'm just kind of guesstimating here by looking at my little cup, and I'll mark it with a Sharpie and kind of measure it. But it would be great to have a measured receptacle to put this in so that you could be exact with it. I've never had a problem with it firming up, but just get the kit. I'm going to get the kit. especially after this round of trying to estimate here. This stuff is really messy and sticky, so be careful. Always try to wipe it off. If you're not using the whole bottle, like, keep it from dripping because it gets all over stuff and it's nasty. And I think you're really supposed to use like acetate or acetone to clean it up with, which is got a lot of fumes. It does say on their website, I did have somebody ask me the question of like, do you have to have a ventilated area for this, and is it toxic and all that. This product claims to be non-toxic, and it claims to be low odor. I did notice odor. It did smell, but I don't think it's harmful like most resins. But I would recommend, you know, being in an area where it is ventilated and you've got air moving. And if you, like, I'm doing it in my house right now, and so normally that would not be the ideal situation because it did kind of smell at my kitchen. But when you're drying it, putting it in an area where it's not going to smell up your whole house and you've got some ventilation there. But no, it's nothing like the normal resin that I've used in the past where it just is really toxic and you almost, you know, need a mask to use it. So, but like I said, they have some great tutorial videos on their website. They have a great Q&A. So I'm not a professional resin user. I'm a very novice resin user. And like I said, I'm looking at the instructions here because I don't use it all the time. I do love the results. I've tried products before where it's ruined my art because it's turned yellow. I've never had that problem with this product, and it is very user-friendly. But check out them. If you have questions, go to their website and ask them first, not me. I'd be glad to answer any questions about the process you're seeing here and my setup and the art that I'm doing. But as far as this product goes, check with them, check with the experts on that. So you're supposed to stir for 3 minutes. And that allows it to cure. I think the work time it said for once you have this stirred is like maybe 45 minutes. I'm not sure if it's that long or not, but you're going to want to basically stir it for 3 minutes and then go ahead and work with your resin and get it poured on and get rid of it. It won't keep, so it does firm up. So you can't like put a lid on this and save it. You want to mix up just enough to use for the art that you're working with, pour it on, and then the rest is just, you got to throw it away. So there is on their website, there is it tells you how to calculate what you need to mix up for the space, you know, the amount, area space, surface space is the word I'm looking for, that you're mixing for. So you can check with that. And so I'm mixing here for 3 minutes, as you can see, and then we will pour on to the piece. Okay, as you can see here, it is important to have a very level surface so that all your resin won't drip as it's drying. You do want to lift it up off of your flat surface because once it dries, it'll stick to your flat surface really bad. So you can see I'm sitting 2 cups. I wanted to make sure that was balanced really well and level on a level surface also. And that way, as this drips off the side, it won't glue itself to the cardboard. You can see they say that this product is self-leveling. I'm sure maybe on a really flat surface it is. This piece of art has a lot of texture in it, and so it's a very uneven surface. So I'm using my tongue depressor stick to spread that resin and make sure I'm covering all the areas. So you can use something to level. You could use your finger with your glove. But yeah, you want to make sure, one thing I always do is I lift it up. You want to have a well lighted area, and I lift it up to the light so that I can see that every area is covered, because for me it is hard to tell. I've done pieces before and missed like a whole spot that just didn't get resin on it. So lift it up to the light would be my recommendation, and make sure that you've got all your areas covered, because it is hard to go back and mix up just a little bit to fill in a spot, which I've had to do before, and then it's not completely even when you do that, because you've kind of had to patch it. So yeah, make sure you level all that out and get every little area covered. All right, there are several different ways you can do your edges. You can see, because it is self-leveling, you don't have to tape your edges. I've never really had a problem with a lot of it dripping off of the piece. It's pretty thick. There will be some drips. So I usually just take my finger with my gloves on and kind of spread those drips so I have a shiny resin on the side. You could also, if you have resin left, you could get a brush of some sort or just use your finger and just coat that resin on the side. Or you can just leave it plain and varnish it later, just, whatever your preference is for how you want to finish off your edges of your surface. And so you can see here, I'm going to take off my gloves to do my heating element. Some people use the little torch, I don't know what those are called, but I just have a heat gun and it works fine. You do not want to get the heat gun too close to the piece, because you'll be able to see that it does move the resin around. But as you're blowing the heat, and try to just keep it moving evenly, don't hold it in one spot for a long time, but you'll notice that little bubbles are popping and it gets the bubbles out. And so you can use a hairdryer if you want. I've used a hairdryer before, but you have to be really careful, and a hairdryer has a whole much more pressure that comes out of it than a heat gun does, and so you have to be really, really careful about the resin moving around. I've always used my heat gun and it's been fine. I've never had any huge bubbles or anything like that. It seems to get the bubbles out pretty good, and so I'm not real sure how long you're supposed to do that. I'm sure it's in the instructions, but I just kind of do it until it quits. You'll see the bubbles popping and coming to the surface, and when they stop doing that is when I stop. So yeah, so this is kind of the last step, and then you're going to place it somewhere safe with a cover to dry and let it dry for 24 hours, and you'll have a nice finished resin piece. Thank you so much for joining me here on my YouTube channel. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, it always helps me so much when you leave a comment, and share my page with your art friends. I would love that. So if you want to see more of my finished resin pieces, check out my Instagram page or my website.